Okay, so for today, we are graphing inequalities. Very first thing, what is an inequality? So, how to say it? If you look at it, this very first one is just called less than. What does it mean? It just means that the thing on the left is smaller. So an example would be 4 is less than 5. So what kind of dot would that mean I would have to make? I would make an open dot. And then what side of the line should I shade on? I'm going to shade on the left side of the line if I was given a number line. The next one, it's a less than sign, but it has a line on the bottom. That means that we're going to call it less than or equal to. So it is smaller or equal. So an example could be 4 is less than or equal to 5, or I could say 5 is less than or equal to 5. For this kind of line on a number line, you would do a closed dot. And if I had the dot, I would shade on the left side again. So less than is always on the left. Okay, my next one is greater than. So we have greater than. That just means that it is bigger. So an example would be 6 is greater than 5. If you think about for an inequality, the symbol is opening to the bigger one. So think of it as like an alligator, so it wants to eat the bigger thing. So for this one, I would have an open dot. And if I had the dot on a number line, I would shade to the right. Same thing for the last one. It is greater than or equal to. So that means it is bigger or the same. So 6 is greater than or equal to 5, or 5 is greater than or equal to 5. You do a closed dot on a number line. And again, you would shade on the right side. So less than is always on the left, greater than is always on the right. So looking at this, 3 is smaller than 6. So I want to circle that side. Negative 10 is smaller than 2. 121 is greater than. It is bigger. And negative 50 and negative 100. The more negative something is, the smaller it will be. So this should be less than. Okay, so below, let's actually graph some. So I have less than 2. So it's going to be an open dot, and I'm going to shade to the left. So let me pick a different color real quick. We're going to the left. The next one, 0. So I'm going to have a closed dot because it's less than or equal to. And we're again going to go to the left. The next one, I'm going to have a closed dot at positive 1. And this time we are going to the right. Next one, negative 5. I'm going to have an open dot. And that's bigger than negative 5. So I'm going to go to the right again. The next one, I'm going to have a closed dot at 1, and I'm going to go to the left. And the last one, I'm going to have an open dot, and I'm going to go to the right. If you notice, if your variable is on the left-hand side, then really you're just shading in whichever direction the inequality is facing. If it's flipped though, then it's going to be opposite. So use that if it's going to help you. If you think you're just going to get confused, then just forget about that. Just remember, less than, we're going to the left, and greater than, we are going to the right. Go ahead and go to the next page. Okay, so you graph inequalities in the same way as a regular equation. The only difference is for inequalities, you have to shade. Okay, so when I say shade, that means if I'm shading above or below the line. So some things that we need to know. If we have a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, that means I'm going to have a solid line. If I have a less than or just a plain greater than, that is a dashed line. I'm going to show you what both of those look like. If I have greater than or equal to or greater than, that means that I'm going to shade, so this is shading. We are going to be shading below the line. If I have greater than or greater than and equal to, then I am shading above the line. So looking at this very first one, I'm going to keep this so I can see everything. -4, so I'm going to have a dot at -4, and my slope is 3. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. Up 1, 2, 3, yeah, over 1, 1, 2, 3, over 1. I missed that point. Okay. So now go ahead and draw our line. So looking at it, I want a dashed line. So by a dashed line, I mean a line that looks like this. Do you see how it has little spaces? That just means that points that are on that line are not part of your, are not part of your answer. They are not equal to it. Now I have less than. That means I'm going to shade below. The way to figure out if you're going what side, if on the left or on the right, pick a point and draw an arrow that goes down. That tells me how I'm going to shade. So I'm shading everything that is over here. My next one, my y-intercept is at 3. So I'm going to put a dot at 3. And my slope is +1. So it's just everything that is sitting on this line here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. I'm just connecting all of my dots. And then I keep going. Hope I missed one. Now, above or below, it's greater than, so that means I want to be above. So I'm going to draw an arrow up. That tells me I want to shade everything that is up here. So everything that is in that shaded area could be my answer. It would work. My next one, my y-intercept is -3, so I'm going to put a dot right there. Why did it stop working? -3. I want to put a dot right there. My slope is +1. So again, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. You can keep going with all of your dots if you want. Now, solid line or dashed line? Well, it's greater than or equal to. So that means I want a solid line. So we're going to connect everything. There are no gaps. Now, do I want to shade above or below? It's greater than, so that means I want to shade above. So I'm shading everything on this side of my line. Oops. And then my last one, y equals -4, or is greater than or equal to -4. Well, let's start off with, I don't have a slope. So that means I want a line that's sitting right here. 0x just means 0, right? So I don't have to put it. So that just tells me I'm going to have a line that's just going straight across in both directions. So it looks just like that. Since it's greater than or equal to, that tells me I'm going to shade above it. So I'm shading everything that is on top of my line. Okay, so one last recap. If it is greater than, less than, and equal to, then that means it is solid. If it is just greater than or less than, then it is dashed. If it's less than or less than and equal to, it is below the line. If it is greater than, equal to, it is above the line. Now, I want you to work on your homework, and once you finish that up, you can work on Delta Math. Have a good rest of your day.